Market mood today being determined by two news items. First up, of course, is the Indian government's decision to slash excise duty on petrol and diesel by 10 rupees a litre. This is coming again amid the global energy shock which is witnessed and is sending oil prices soaring high. The government has decided to cut petrol excise duty from 13 rupees earlier to 3 rupees a litre now. Meanwhile, diesel excise duty has been cut from 10 rupees earlier to 0% or nil right now. And these are the visuals that we are getting from various parts of the country, from Hyderabad, Indore, Nagpur, Jalna and Jorhat, where you could see, in fact, in early morning visuals today of vehicles lining up to get their tanks fueled up. Remember, this was in the wake of Nayara Energy hiking fuel prices yesterday by as much as 5 rupees a litre, sending some sort of panic buying across the country, where users of automobiles fearing that other OMCs or oil marketing companies may also hike prices. Visuals coming from Indian Oil and other petrol pumps where people are queuing up to get their tanks in their vehicles refilled. Meanwhile, the Indian stock markets not reacting positively at all to the excise duty cut. In fact, if you look at the heat map right now, most sectors continue to be in the red this morning. Fears of fiscal deficit ballooning are likely to rise with this cut in excise duty. And of course, the other news item also comes from Goldman Sachs, which has cut India's growth estimates for the equity markets and has downgraded Indian equities from overweight to market weight. Let's put all this in perspective with Kranti Patini, equity strategist at Wealth Mill Securities, who joins us this morning. Kranti, good morning. Pleasure having you back with us here on News 9. First up, these two big news items coming. First up, the government has decided to cut excise duty on petrol and diesel. Markets not reacting favorably to this, but overall, is this likely to be good news for oil marketing companies and for consumers at large?
Yeah, this is beneficiary for consumers, Karthik, in the medium to short term because the rise in the global oil prices, the government is going to absorb the customs duty, and that is the import duty, where that will increase the current account deficit for the government in the medium to short term. But this is a good news for the consumers because the rise in the global oil prices will be adjusted by the government in the medium to short term. But how long? That is the greater question at this point of time. Of course, the kind of volatility we are witnessing in every asset class, it's not only the crude, we are witnessing the same kind of volatility in the gold and silver and equity markets we are witnessing every day. So the world is moving in a very different direction. A lot of volatility and uncertainty is looming. That's what we are witnessing at this point of time, Karthik. But we need to remember one thing. We have witnessed the global crude oil prices hitting around $145 per barrel in the year 2007 and 8. We witnessed from there the slide also we witnessed,
That's
and
right.
during COVID we witnessed the crude oil futures going to negative. We never expected we will witness a crude oil prices going negative. So we
Yeah.
are witnessing these kind of a highly volatile moments in the last few years.
Yeah.
So we need to prepare as the world is taking a reset at this point of time, Karthik, at this point
Absolutely.
of time.
Right. Let's stick to this for just a moment longer. Kranti, is it fair to assume at this moment that with this excise duty cut, there isn't going to be any passing on higher fuel prices to the consumers, which means that worries of inflation, at least for now, can be kept aside, and hence India's sort of overall consumption story, GDP growth, unlikely to get negatively impacted, at least for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, but still one of the worrying factor across the globe, there is no exception for India with respect to the inflation worries are concerned, Karthik. It is the global worry at this point of time. But coming back to India, of course, the consumer have some kind of a solace in the medium to short term. But how long the government could able to afford to absorb this increase in the global crude oil prices, the under recoveries? We need to wait and watch. But as long as the crude oil prices are not inching up higher, for the markets are concerned, the at the fuel stations, that can be some kind of a solace for the consumers. But I don't think so. At some point of time, the government need to take a step to increase the prices in the medium to short term.
Right.
How long? We need to wait and watch.
And remember, the slash in excise duty on petrol and diesel comes just a day after Nayara Energy, India's largest private fuel retailer, had raised petrol prices by 5 rupees a litre and diesel prices by 3 rupees a litre, passing on part of the recent surge in global oil prices following the conflict involving Iran. Now, the move had come as fuel retailers were facing mounting pressure with domestic prices largely frozen despite a sharp rise in international crude since late February. In fact, since the 28th of February when the war in West Asia broke out. Nayara, which reportedly operates nearly 7,000 fuel stations across India, said the hike reflects rising input costs, while other private players like the Reliance BP joint venture have so far held prices despite incurring losses. These losses now may be reduced or could turn into profits after the government has decided to slash excise duty on petrol and diesel. Remember, state-run companies have continued to keep retail prices unchanged, absorbing the impact of volatile crude markets. There were talks yesterday that other OMCs could follow Nayara's example and increase fuel prices, but the government stepping in just in time to take on some of the risk faced by the oil marketing companies by cutting excise duties. The larger questions now around India's fiscal deficit ballooning could arise with the government giving this concession on petrol and diesel excise duty.